What if fixing a single moment destroyed everything else? In a town forgotten by time, one man built a clock that could rewind fate, but he never imagined the price. This is the story of the Clockmaker's Rewind. Welcome, fellow travelers of tale and time, to Talecraft, where every story is a gear in the grand clock of imagination. Today's story, it's a little different, a little darker, a little more ticking toward disaster. Buckle up your brass goggles, hold tight to your top hats, because what if fixing the past broke everything else? In the soot-dusted town of Greymire, where every building sagged like it was sighing, there lived a man named Elias, the last clockmaker in a world that had almost forgotten time altogether. He was a reclusive man, a little hunched from years over workbenches, and a lot hunched from grief. His love, Clara, had died a year ago. A carriage accident, a cruel twist, a misaligned cog in the machine of fate. And believe me, when fate gives you lemons in Greymire, you don't make lemonade. You probably just drink more questionable tea. Elias didn't cry. He didn't rage. He built. In a cluttered shop smelling of oil and old dreams, he crafted a timepiece unlike any other. Not a clock that counted hours forward. A clock that pulled them backward. A brass beauty, etched with swirling runes, its pendulum swinging counter to every natural law. When Elias wound the clock for the first time, the hands spun backward, and so did the world. First, the effects were small. A broken plate, unbroken. A wilted flower, blooming. A yawned secret, unspoken again. Elias was careful for about 5 minutes. Then he dared to rewind the day Clara died. Because if you build a time machine and don't immediately try to undo your worst heartbreak, are you even human? At first it worked. Clara lived. She laughed. She looked at him again, the way she used to. For one shining day, Greymire felt right again. But when Elias returned to his workshop, he noticed things. The sun rose in the west. The rats in the alley wore tiny metal braces on their legs, and a towering machine, like a clock tower on legs, stalked through the marketplace. Reality itself had rewound and rewoven. A new world had emerged. Steampunk sentinels marching through cobbled streets, enforcing something called time law. Change the past, they said, and you pay a price. Elias had wound time, but the gears had slipped. The world he loved was becoming something else, something polished and gleaming, but hollow and cold. One misty evening, as Elias sat atop a rooftop tinkering with the clock, a figure emerged from the swirling smog. A traveler wrapped in a coat stitched with constellations, carrying a staff topped with a whirling gyroscope. He introduced himself simply as Ash. Ash warned Elias of something called the loop's edge. There is a point, Elias, where rewinding no longer fixes. It only reveals what was hidden. He spoke of Clara, how maybe she hadn't died by accident. Maybe she had chosen to slip away from her timeline. Elias laughed it off at first, because when a cosmic drifter in a starry bathrobe tells you your dead ex is time traveling without you, it's very easy to take them seriously. But the seed was planted, and the more Elias rewound, the clearer the fractures became. Clara's smile twisting, her voice glitching like a broken record. Finally, he found her, alive, different, standing atop a shimmering clock tower, gears whirling around her like a crown. "I didn't want saving, Elias," she whispered across the wind. "I wanted freedom." Elias stood, heart hammering like a malfunctioning piston. He realized he wasn't saving Clara. He was chaining her to a past she had outgrown. All the time in the world couldn't fix something that didn't want fixing. Maybe love wasn't about holding on harder. Maybe it was about letting go and winding forward again. With trembling fingers, Elias smashed the rewind clock. Its gears spun free. Time raced forward, and the world blurred back into something close to normal. Not perfect, not painless, but real. In the end, Elias reopened his little shop, not as a clockmaker trying to trap time, but as a craftsman helping others cherish the moments they had. He never rewound again. He didn't need to, because sometimes the only way to honor the past is to build a better present. If you could rewind one moment, would you? Or would you, like Elias, find courage in the now? Let me know in the comments. I read every one, and if you enjoyed the Clockmaker's Rewind, give it a thumbs up, share it with a fellow story lover, and subscribe to Talecraft for more journeys beyond the ticking of time. Until next time, keep crafting your own story.